Hey, how you doing? This is Dave Haynes from Jeremiah Creek. Thank you for joining us today. Just a quick note about today's show. We had a little bit of an issue with some microphones, so the show's shorter and it cuts off abruptly during our discussions of the Olympics. But we just decided to upload it anyway. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, we'll do it better next time. All right, so take two, Jeremiah Creek. Trying it with new microphones. We had a little hiccup on the last one.
The hiccup.
Was that fake?
Yeah, I was illustrated.
Oh,
Yeah. Does it sound real?
it sounded real. I
I
was like, wow,
practice.
that would have been
I don't do many imitations, but the one I do is good.
all right.
Imitation of a hiccup.
So
What the fuck are we going to talk about now? We've already talked everything out. We talked about.
well, let's just start where we were talking before. What were we talking about before?
I don't.
We were interrupted during pole vaulting. So let's start with pole vaulting.
Right. So, well, I mean, in the Olympics, the French pole vaulting was derailed by his pole.
By his pole.
Yeah. Apparently, that guy's sporting quite the Bugatti in his pants, and you can see it happen as he comes over the rail, whatever you call it. His giant junk hits the bar.
He nailed the rail.
He nailed the rail. His junk knocks the bar off, and so he was disqualified for that.
Don't you think they wear something that
Apparently not.
Tucks it in?
Apparently not. Because damn, and I mean, there's a lot of people replaying that in slow mo a lot. Him being
Mostly women.
mostly him and women, yeah. So, but I think he must have had a pretty. I think somebody needs to do some research and look at TikTok and YouTube videos from the Olympic, wherever you call it, compound or whatever, because I think that guy probably had a good night.
Yeah, he may have lost the gold, but he gained a lot of.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that there's one instance where the guy with the silver is like, "Hey, I mean," or the guy with the gold is like, "I'd rather have the silver medal in this one. This my dick's okay too."
There we go. All right, so, well, and it got me. I was watching pole vaulting yesterday, but I was watching the women's pole vaulting because I'm straight, and and I was watching, and what I started to tell you is that the American and the Australian and were competing for the gold and the silver, and they jumped 4.9 meters. They both cleared 4.9 meters. So whoever cleared I think it was 4.95 meters.
Right.
I think they go up 0.5, and neither one of them cleared the bar in 3 attempts. So at that point, which I never knew this was a rule, at that point the competitors can choose to either continue giving it a shot or they decided to share the gold, and they decided to share the gold.
Sportsmanship.
I annoyed the crap out of me. I mean, you have to have a clear winner and a clear second place finisher.
It's terrible when people are decent humans, right?
Well, it's not so much from the point of view of what these two women did. It was very nice, very sportsmanlike.
They both get a gold.
My problem is with the rules, not what they did. Yeah, nobody got the silver, so it went 2 golds and a bronze, and so from the point of view of hey, they shared it. I mean, I played in poker tournaments where the last 2 people decided instead of playing and one of them winning, then they would just share the top 2 prizes equally, and that annoys the shit out of me too. So
it's not as gratifying.
It's not as gratifying.
Yeah.
It's not as gratifying as sports.
Yeah,
it's like
it's like if 2 cars cross the finish line at the same time.
It's like at the end of the World Series, if you're tied at the bottom of the 9th inning, you don't get all the teams together and decide, yeah, all right, we'll share the World Series. No, you play until it's over.
The men's I don't know, 600-yard meter or 100-yard meter dash or whatever. I don't know which one it was, but it was one of those. All the guys came in, and the dude that won by 1/34th of a second or something like that. And it's like somebody on TV last night said, "Isn't that a tie?" I mean, that's a tie, right? That's why you have ties. A 34th of a second doesn't even exist.
Hey, 34th. Right? If the pole vaulter had been running at 30, he would have won.
True,
because part of his body would have crossed the finish line, a fifth of a second less.
They made that joke too. Oh man.
So I'm not a big. I was saying I'm not a big Olympics guy. At least not Summer Olympics guy. So I haven't watched too much of it. I like the Winter Olympics.
Is it the leotards that the women wear?
Although what I do like in the Summer Olympics is the diving, and I have not seen any diving.
Yeah, it's happened.
Swimming's
been pretty cool, actually.
Actually, I did watch a little bit of the swimming, and they have a new thing. At least the guy on the narrator said it was a new thing. So, where as you're watching the swimming, like they usually do this for the top 2 or 3 people, they show you in a graphic how fast they are, like 1 point something meters.
Oh wow!
An hour or a second. I guess.
That's hard stuff to do. That's what I'm about to start doing for exercise, is swim. Because I like to swim, and it's not hard.
I'd like to see that graphic while you were swimming. How many meters per second are you swimming?
The guy walking past me on the shore would be, not many, is what he would say.
But it is interesting. So what they do is they showed a guy in the lead, and then they showed a guy in like second or third place, depending on how close it is. And you can see that, look, the guy in second place is swimming faster than the guy in first place. So if the trajectory keeps going up, he's going to catch him. Or, it makes it, the data makes it fun to watch.
Yeah.
Also, they have this cool camera that rolls along like it's a car underneath at the bottom of the pool, which is pretty cool, too.
I'm a good swimmer. I am. I'm a good swimmer. I grew up in Florida, dude. I mean, I used to swim all the time. I'm actually, if I competed against other guys my size and my age, I would knock their ass out of the pool. I'm pretty good.
Do you kick and?
Yeah, I swim. I swim competitive style, Australian overhand, whatever that's called, the Australian crawl, and I do my breathing correctly and everything. But here's the thing: I do occasionally. This is part of ADHD and dyslexia. All right, which I'm blessed with both of those things, and things that are sequential and repetitive, sometimes I lose the place in those things. I don't know how to explain it, but every once in a while when I'm swimming, usually like the 3rd or 4th lap, because I try to get it a whole mile, right? Usually the 3rd or 4th lap, I get confused, and like I have to stop and stand there for a minute and like catch up with myself, because like I get my hands in the wrong order or something like that. But most of the time I do pretty good. I'm not trying to go fast or anything. I'm only trying to do it right. That's all I'm trying to do.
I can swim enough to save my life. That's about it.
It's the breathing part is something you really have to work hard to get, because it is counterintuitive. Because you don't lift your head out of the water. You just turn your head and you breathe right at the top of the water, and you really got to get that right, or you
choke.
Yeah, you drown, and
like some French woman.
So, but I didn't know this is what you meant by pole vaulting. So I went early to swim, right? You have to sign up for a lane at Galter, and theoretically you share lanes, which is a bad idea with me because I swim like that fucking bird flies in the Peanuts, okay? In the Peanuts cartoon. And for those of you who don't know what Peanuts is, it was a cartoon that had a little bird in it. Anyway, so I go and I sign up for a lane, and I went like 20 minutes earlier than I normally do. And I didn't know that there's a class before, because I usually go at 2 o'clock. There's a class right before me. And so I was there before the class had gotten out of the pool and cleaned up. It's a class of extremely elderly people. That never occurred to me. And so I'm watching them, and they're squatting and twisting and doing their pool stuff.
Water aerobics?
Water aerobics.
Yeah.
And this one old dude, and I mean, he is 190 years old, gets out, and he's not wearing a swimsuit. He's just wearing briefs, and they don't fit well. And other people are getting out, and I'm like, that person doesn't look particularly healthy, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to dive in that water that they've been squatting in twisting in. And I know not all of them are perfectly continent all the time. And I took my name off. I haven't been back. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't even think about it.
Wow.
I couldn't stand it, man. I don't. There's not a lot of things that make me squirm, but that fucked me up. But I've gotten over it now. I'm be able to go back.
Oh, that's a conversation stopper right there.
Yeah. I don't like exercise. I don't like going to the gym and exercising. I clearly I don't like it, but I have to do it, because I don't want to grow old and be weak and feeble and everything. And I think what happens to a lot of old people, because we're 60, so I am, and what happens is they quit doing anything, and so their body just kind of shuts down, and so they lose their flexibility and they lose strength and everything, and so you see a huge difference between people that train even a little bit and people that don't.
Yeah.
And the people that don't die, and the people that do, they keep going. And
that's
so
why
I want
to keep playing golf, even though sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm too tired, but I got to get out there. At least you're walking a mile.
Yeah.
And you know what? I played golf with my dad yesterday and my sister and stuff, and it was 90. When we
It was
went out
hot.
there. It was hot. By the end of the round, it obviously had started to cool down, the breeze had come through, but it was 90. So my sister's like, maybe we should ask Dad if he wants to take a cart. Me and my brother-in-law are like, yeah, that's a good idea. We should ask him. He's kind of old. Maybe walking in his seat might not be good. But I'm sure both secretly go, well, let's take a cart.
Yeah.
And my dad goes walking out. My sister asked me, he goes, nah, that's fine. We'll walk.
Why don't you just get a cart anyway?
You can't take a cart when your 79-year-old father's out there carrying his clubs and walking. It's like,
Well, he would have ridden with you because he doesn't want to wait.
yeah.
So you just do it, Here's the thing, man. I take a golf cart when I golf because I like golf carts.
Yeah.
Colleen and I have been to golf courses more than once. We didn't golf. We just rented a golf cart and drove around. Like it was our own personal go-kart. We'd follow the drink cart and have a blast. Because no one says anything about getting drunk and driving a golf cart. The golfers hate us, but we have a good time. We have a blast, man.
Well, getting back to the Olympics, there was some other topic that we brought up besides pole vaulters. Pole vaulters.
Well, I mean, we haven't talked about the boxer, Khalif or whatever her name is.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
There's two of them.
I only know about the Algerian woman who beat the shit out of an Italian boxer girl, and everyone's like, well, she's a man. It's like, she's definitely not a man. And
she's definitely a man.
She's not a man.
Only if you follow the science is she a man.
I mean, only if you consider a man a person has a penis instead of, like, she's not a pole vaulter, all right?
Well,
yeah. And I feel bad for her because, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, she's probably her whole life had to deal with people making comments because she looks very masculine,
Because she's a man.
She's not a man. And
she's a man, depends on who you talk to.
Well, her and her trainers and the people that run the association say she's a fucking woman. She has
No. The trainers, her, and the International Olympic Committee say she's a woman.
Yeah.
The other levels of boxing say she's a man, and they wouldn't allow her to box against women.
Only one time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And they said it was bullshit.
And she didn't appeal it, and she went.
There's pictures of her as a kid, as a little girl.
Well,
man.
Okay.
Do you really think she's a man?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Here's the thing.
That's mean.
If you look at the history of this whole thing, and I mean, I've looked at it, and it's a very, very sad story, because first of all, I hate the fact that they changed the names of all these people. When we were young, they would have called her a hermaphrodite, and then for a while they called them intersex, and now they call them DSDs, which I can't remember what the hell that means.
Dick says dick?
No. But basically, what happens is that they're born without the proper equipment for either one. And you really don't know what they are until they become adolescents. So what happened is that she was born without a penis, and her testes didn't descend. So they raised her as a woman. When she became an adolescent, the testes descend, a little bit of a penis grows. It's really a sad story. And then but then her body filled out masculine, and so there's a question there: how do you raise these kids? And they,
Where do you get all this information?
oh, it's on. I mean, it's been on talk shows and stuff. There's a lot of people covering it, and they've gone through the history of this woman, both women, really. And so the problem is from my point of view is, and you know, I know people it pisses people off, and I'm sorry, but I think you have to be clearly a woman to fight other women, and I would say you have to be clearly a man to fight other men, and since these people are neither, it sucks. But